Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns. It's brought to you by Patriot, Patch Company, VZ Grips, TAC Pack, MAF, and Primary Arms. The show offers commentary on the latest firearm industry news, information, and buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Rosier, and I'm here with my special co-host, Othais, because you guys get mad whenever it's someone else, and also
I'm
when
the
it's not
favorite.
Yeah.
Screw everybody that's not me.
And also when it's not someone else. But today's a very special episode. Do you know why? It's episode number 400.
Is that good?
It's the 400th episode of This Week in Guns.
Round number.
Yeah. It's a big component of the base 10 counting system, and I figured we could celebrate.
Episode is this Matt episode 400?
No.
Or is this overall episode 400?
This is overall episode 400.
Oh, that means a lot of them were good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought we could celebrate if we all picked out our favorite 40.
Did you get a Kel-Tec in 40?
Yes.
I knew you finally got a sub 2000, but why'd you get one in 40?
Did you not know that it was 40?
How would I just know that?
I thought I told you.
No, I just saw you had pictures that you got one.
40.
Are you gonna add all the shit that I added to mine?
No, I'm gonna learn from your mistakes.
What do you mean mistakes? Mine is dope.
Yours is dope now.
What do you mean? I had to send it back to Kel-Tec because
you forget that I shot it like 3 iterations ago.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen I've seen pictures of the current mark, but anyway,
you're coming to visit soon, right?
Yes, I am. But anyway, good. So here's my 40 celebration gun. 400. That's 0.1 calibers per episode.
I don't own a 40. I only own. I think the closest I own is a 41.
How dare you? There's going to be a guy in my live chat that's going to be very happy. You know who you are. But he's going to be very upset that you don't own a 40.
Wait, why would he be upset that I don't own a 40?
He likes 40.
Oh.
I got another 40 here. It's one of my P99 frames, but with a 40 PPQ on it.
When did you become a boomer?
I'm not a boomer.
Sorry.
Do you know why
I'm sorry, tactical Gen X.
Do you know why my Kel-Tec's in 40 and why my Walther kits are in 40? It's cheaper.
Yeah, it is, but then you got 40.
Yeah. I like the idea of 40 in a carbine.
Oh, wait, do you have like a lot of 9mm?
Like a decent amount.
Would you like to trade that for like 40?
If you're offering.
One of the police departments here is swapping.
Really?
So, yeah, they're going off of 40 back to 9.
So they're just literally will trade you?
No. It's like they've got a business. There's a local place that they're going to make the deal with, but they will swap it. I think 1-to-1. Oh. I'm going. How are you going to unload that much 40?
I mean, I would take it
over 9.
Oh yeah. Well, just because 40 costs more. You got more lead in it.
I've never bought 40. I actually have like a box of 40 that I just inherited with some other stuff. It just sits there being 40.
Foden.
Yeah.
No, I've joined the club. I'm still a 9. I still carry a 9.
Right.
I've got quite a few 40s, and I've got 10 mils. It's a fun caliber.
Well, 10 mil makes more sense to me. That's a different.
Well, yeah, because 10 mil is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then they were like, cops can't handle recoil. I love the journey to 40.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing every time. This happens over and over and over again in history. Yeah. Okay. We want the biggest, meanest cartridge we can get, so it kills a guy in one hit. Awesome. Turns out that we have to like quintuple our training hours in order to get that to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And even then they F it up. So we're going to go down to like 38. You know, it's always, by the way, 45 and 38 for a long time. Or in Europe, you'd see this 41 and then all the way down to even like 7.5 or some crazy number. But they would just waffle on whatever. And I feel like the Europeans just kept going until they got stuck around 32 ACP and just were like, hold on. And they bounced back to 9mm.
Yeah.
The Americans, however, just like yo-yoed back and forth between 38 and 45 and just huge arguments. And then it's like, okay. After 100 years of this bullshit, what if we did 40? That would be like amazing, right? Mm-hmm. So here's the plan. We're gonna take this cartridge and we're gonna take 9mm and we're gonna make it into a bigger cartridge around 40, okay, that will fit the same frame as the 9mm. And see, that's why we're smart, and Colt didn't do that with
Colt was
41
thinking,
on their revolvers over 100 years ago. It's literally the exact same solution of
my favorite thing is the Journey 240, right? Because you had the FBI going for 10, right? And it's like, and 10 in full pop is cool as hell.
Yeah, but the problem is, so 10 in this story would be 45 Colt.
Right. But the problem is you can't get 10, like real 10 at all.
Okay.
This is just like 308 and NATO, right?
Right.
Like the stuff you buy on the store that says 10mm, it's actually like 40 plus P.
Right.
Like real 10 can shoot like 180 grains at like over 1600 feet per second. So the 10 you buy is mega downloaded 10, right? Because the FBI wanted 10, they're like, oh my god, we can't use this. Let's just like reduce it substantially. So that's where we get the 10 we've got now. And then the cops are like, well, we can't shoot that FBI stuff. so then that's where 40 comes from. And then so you had this like, 10mm short.
Yeah,
and then they're like, wait, the cop, they can't shoot this full pop 40. So then you get 40 law enforcement. And what's the muzzle energy? 38 special.
Right. We're right back where we started.
Yeah. It's so awesome. The journey, like the emotional roller coaster from 10 mil to back to 9. It's such a great thing.
To be fair, it goes back to, it's the pragmatism of the expected, right?
Right.
So then what happens is something unexpected occurs, and you end up in a shootout where you didn't have the authority that you wanted to have. And then everybody turns around and starts trying to invent a better handgun, and they try to release it in order to handle this one extreme circumstance. And then now the gun that's designed for the extreme circumstance doesn't work for crap for every other circumstance. Like a do-all utility pistol is, what do you...
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. I cannot imagine a single gun designed for a single atrocity.
At least that's handsome.
Yeah. I'm holding up a Walther P5, which was designed expressly in response to the Munich catastrophe.
Yeah.
And they were like, our P1s are snagging on things.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just, you're designing around an extreme circumstance, and then the answer is, realistically, where we've gone to is, well, what if we just give them all 9s and a carbine? Because screw it. To be fair, I think there's a strong case to bring back something like 351 Winchester. We're seeing it sort of in the 300 blackout area, where we're trying to get like this pistol length barrel, quote unquote, these short barrel performances. I really think there's room for something akin to 351 Winchester.
Just a fat stack flying.
Yeah, just like a, not necessarily the biggest diameter, but a lot of mass being hucked. Something that
why don't we just go back to the black powder days and just have carbine loads like
because the problem is assholes will. So this is actually this bothers me. We can't do that because assholes will shove the rifle load in the carbine rated thing, right? And then the other problem, but then so that's okay. We can't do that. But then what do? We have 300 blackout, which will chamber in a 223. Like,
well, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, enough that YOLOs will do it. You know what I mean? Well, that's why to be fair, you still need the forward assist precisely so you can shove 300 blackout into your
That's the use case.
Yeah. Thanks, Carl. You're ruining it for everybody.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that sub 2000. Have you tried feeding around with the with the thing folded in half? Because I did that, and I noticed the extractor held the cartridge. It didn't fly out of the... I expected it to fly out of the gun.
Wait, you fed it? It's like, is it that controlled feed?
All I know is I've never tried it before, and I don't know why I did, but I thought it would kick the round out. Because it's like I had 2 rounds in the mag, and I thought, oh, I'll just cycle them out by just keeping it folded and cycling the bolt, and they'll fly out the front, They did not fly out the front. It's just stayed there in place, held by the extractor, and I was like amazed that it held that well, just sticking out, into the ether. And you know what I had to do? I had to resist the idiot urge to pull the trigger.
We both. Oh, I see why it would do that, because of that brilliant feed ramp.
Yeah.
Damn.
So nobody try that at home, please God, because that's not good.
Don't try that at home. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, it's so funny. So moving on to current events, we had a little bit of a selection going on this week, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was nice.
I think it went great. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, it's still going on, by the way. At the time we're recording this, this is the results. I don't know what that means. I think that no matter how red this number gets or how blue this number gets, gun control stays bad. I think that's true for all of these.
It also stays on the table because,
Yeah.
I mean, even in South Carolina, we have Lindsey Graham going for red flag laws. Thanks, buddies.
Yep. So yeah, there's an election, but a lot of the stuff that we'll be talking about today is related to state ballot initiatives.
That's good. Can we do a macro on the election? Because I assume most of our audience is probably favoring conservatism.
Sure.
I would say in the gun sphere, we're used to people voting more Republican than Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that a lot of them want to vote Libertarian, but they're terrified to do so because our system is designed for two parties only, essentially, at this point.
Right.
By design, by the way. People don't realize how much the law has been manipulated to create a two-party system. But I will say there is, for anybody that's bemoaning the fact that this wasn't the red wave that everybody was talking about, can I just say, just hold on and wait and see what's going to happen? Because right now, there is a very hot potato. And if you had a massive red wave, that would just mean that your team would be holding the hot potato when it when it inevitably melted down. There is a silver lining to not having complete control right now, which is that you are not going to catch the ration of flying S that is in the air. And I suspect the other team is a little surprised they won. Like, I don't know why. I'm right now, and I could be dead wrong.
I mean, did they really win?
In the sense that they should have lost massive ground. If you're looking at a situation in which you have this much dissatisfaction on an incumbent, I mean, for God's sakes, they were pumping him full of drugs for his election cycle, right?
Right.
Nowadays, it's like the boiling frog, right? Go watch a Biden speech. 1 in 7 words is unintelligible, and I'm not trying to play part of politics. It could be anybody. I would make the same, we made fun of Bush like crazy back in the day when, you can't get fooled again, right?
Right.
That little stuff.
Fool me once, shame on you.
But he knew what he was saying. He just couldn't remember the phrase, right?
Right.
So all I'm saying is I suspect that they thought they could defer some of the blame because of the red wave, and now there's none, or at least it's a splash, right?
Right.
I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to catch the ball because the ball's already in the air. The ball was launched before Biden was even elected. In terms of the real big thing that's coming, like the amount of funny money that's been printed, but that started before the other guy was out. Everybody's in trouble. Like, all of them are causing problems at this point. So I wouldn't be, if anybody's down about this, just wait and see, folks.
Yeah, no, don't be down. Kind of just be like,
you could have voted an all Republican ticket in every seat everywhere in the entire United States, and it's not going to slow down what's coming one iota because that ball is already coming down hard. It's at terminal velocity anyway.
Yep.
Anyway,
it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, talk from Othais. We're all gonna die.
Yeah, there's
your vote means nothing. We're already screwed.
Hey, look, a cool $5 trillion hole in our economy. I wonder what's gonna happen.
Hey, let's play a fun game. Let's take all the money that we have ever and double it. Now we're all rich, right? Right?
Yes, we are. And so is the gas station, and so is the bread man.
Hey, isn't it weird that when we doubled the monetary supply, a bunch of wealthy guys just ran out and bought all the hard assets they possibly could, including land and stock and.
Nah, I wouldn't.
No, that's a little. It's weird that there was a rush on land buying right after all that fake money was printed.
Well, anyway, you know what I like about Floridians?
The fact that. Okay, so actually, before you go any further with that, I don't know if we've told this on. My brother and I are both from Florida.
Yeah,
but my brother's. We are polar opposites in some ways.
Yeah, his brother's a spook.
Yeah, we're absolutely the same person in terms of attitude, ingenuity, voice. As a matter of fact, it can be confusing to have one of us on the phone versus the other.
Yeah, I've heard him on the phone. It was weird.
Yeah, it's terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although now I've gone more southern, right? But my brother likes to remember Florida unfondly,
right?
Because he has escaped Florida, whereas I'm still in the deep south nearby, and I find Florida funny. So something came up between us. He goes, "Oh, Florida," and I was just like, "You just can't handle it, man." And he's going, "What?" I was like, "You can't handle it. You like rules, you like structure, and you don't like having to spend your time in America's PvP zone."
Yeah.
And he couldn't stop laughing because even he had to admit that I was right. It's America's PvP zone.
Yeah. PvP is enabled. You step onto the roadways and
Yeah, Chicago's like PvE.
Yeah.
But like, Florida is just like it's you versus the environment versus the other players versus who the hell knows what else is showing up.
Florida is one big instance.
Yeah.
Well, living in a massive PV all instance.
I wanted to trend like I want a Florida t-shirt that just says America's PvP zone.
I just want the state's outline and just say PvP enabled.
Yeah. I'd wear that shit.
Yeah, me too.
Matt, don't even tell the story, Matt. We're gonna do it. We're gonna keep talking around it. You ready? What's the thing that happens every time you and I, independently or together, go to a big conference or big group thing? Do you know that thing that happens every time? 6 hours in, we're locked into a corner with one or two dudes, like maybe three, and it always turns out that they grew up in Florida.
Oh, really?
Like
yep. Actually, you're right.
Like every time we come away from an event, and it's just like I got 3 new phone numbers. They're all from Florida.
They're all Floridians. Because we find each other.
Yeah, it's like here, David, Florida. My buddy Tom that I hang out with all the time, Florida. Like you just and I didn't know, not originally.
No,
but
Florida
eventually you find out
we're better. We're made of better stuff. We're tougher.
We can smell the chaos
from getting our hides tanned. Well, anyway, growing up in this instance, right? You develop strategies. You have to develop strats, and that's how you make it into adulthood. That's how you survive into adulthood in Florida. Yeah. Well, this man in Fort Lauderdale, which we Floridians, we South Floridians, effectively refer to as Fort Slaughterdale, right? That's the level 45 arena. Was going through the airport, and he was caught trying to smuggle a gun.
Just one?
Yes, just one.
Okay.
Well, because you'll see why. And where do you think he had it?
Is it on body or off body?
Off body. It's a chicken.
It's a chicken?
It's a chicken. It's a raw chicken.
Are you allowed to take raw chicken through the airport to begin with?
I feel like that was the flaw here.
like, hold on. I feel like that's the thing that's going to get you stopped is the raw chicken.
Yeah. So, like, because I got stopped one time because they thought I had a spring sausage, and I did. I had a spring sausage in my bag, and they wanted to inspect it. Yeah. So, like, here, TSA.
They always look at food. Here. That was the dumbest possible.
Oh, and of course it's an SCCY. Of course it is. Of course it is. Made this very raw find. We hate to break it to you, but stuffing a firearm in your holiday bird for travels is just a waste of time. So, wow, you're so funny, TSA.
What's this guy's name? Is he Hispanic?
What guy?
The chicken stuffer.
I don't see it released.
Oh, damn it.
The story has been reported by Washington, D.C.
I feel like I would believe it. I don't know why. I just feel like I do believe it that a Hispanic dude would think you could take the raw chicken through. Does that make sense?
Bro, 120 firearms were seized at Fort Lauderdale alone this year.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
Florida, I love Florida.
Why are they seizing them? They should just say, "Nah," and make them go back.
Because this way they get to do whatever the hell it is they do with them. Anyway, that's annoying, but props to you, Florida man, for trying. I
believed in him.
You get style points. You get max.
It doesn't look like it was stuffed in there very well, if I'm honest.
No, it doesn't. This was not well thought out because like they were gonna check the chicken no matter what.
Yeah, why wouldn't they check the chicken?
Yeah, that's like literally. Is that a chicken? That's the only thing they could possibly be thinking. They see it, you know. Hold up, guys, we gotta check this bag. I think
you can just carry it. Just put it on your hip. They're less likely to notice it.
Oh no, this is I need this.
Honestly, if you're smart, go get like an insulin pump and just take it apart and pull all the shit out of it. Just shove it in there. Yeah, but you take the gun apart, flip the parts around so they stuff in there, and then who cares? Get an old one. What are they gonna do? They don't know.
Backpack pumps.
Get some medical freaking device and just break it up to change the lines.
Actually, no. In one of the very early insulin pumps, you could totally fit a whole ass gun in the works because they were like clockwork. There you go, Florida man. Start scouring eBay for vintage insulin pumps.
Yeah,
that would be big. I can't wait to see that work, and then me get blamed for it. Anyway, speaking of style points, vzgrips.com. VZ Grips is another Florida company who probably doesn't put the guns in chickens, but if they did, the grips would not be affected due to the patented G10 alloy. VZ Grips has a selection of whatever grips you want. They have good guns, such as...
You're trying not to say Beretta, aren't you?
Such as high power. And
to find a gun that he would willingly call good.
And
they got Hudson H9 grips.
And
there's a lot of those now.
SAR P8. Yeah, they have those good guns. They also have other guns such as 1911, Beretta, Browning 380, CZ75.
What do you think is the most ridiculous gun we could get them to make grips for that they would make grips for?
So it would have to be a gun that takes grip panels.
Yeah. So like a Lottie? You think they do like? I think there'd be enough people that want like VZ grips on a Lottie.
Dude, yeah, I need that now. Because I have one.
Yeah.
Hey, VZ Grips, I'm going to send you an email, okay? But for those of you out there...
Or what about... Wait, go to the revolvers. What do they have for revolvers?
They got a lot of revolvers.
Dude,
so yeah, they got...
Let's see, what models? Oh my god, you know...
They've also got grips for the... for
they got
rifles.
AR.
Yeah, AR grip, which I think is so cool. I have their grips on my end frame.
Okay, hold on. K and L. Go down.
That was a nice...
Scroll. Nobody cares about that one. They do. They have Smith & Wesson J frames and N frames.
Yeah, no, look, I got the N frames right here. On my 45 Colt.
Yeah, you told me that. You got the wrong color, but that's cool.
No, this is Hyena Brown. That's the right color.
I want...
Predator Green is the one you want. So which one do you want me to click on?
Do they have K-frame? Is K-frame in there?
K and L?
Oh, yeah, they have K-frame. Sweet.
Square or...
Oh, yeah, they got both.
You gotta have
you know how cheap K-frames are? You guys could go get the K-frame for like probably 2 or 3 times the cost of the grips.
Yeah.
And then get the grips. And that's it. You're done. It's dope.
If I were going to put them on K-frame, I'd get this Gamer Red.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And then you'd get this one.
Speaking of gaming, I really, really, really want my life back.
Yeah? Tell me more.
I used to be the most popular kid at school, and I got invited to all the parties. But then I became addicted to an online game called Counter-Strike.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I had a similar experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing for 3 years. It's very hard for me to get off. I wake up in the morning, no shower, get on the computer, stay on until the wee hours of the morning, go to sleep, repeat. It's always CS Office. Dust. You know, Dust 2.
I
wonder how many of...
I can't even take CSGO seriously. The no aim down sights thing is like once you get used to
CSGO is I tried. It's miserable. It ended with Source as far as I'm concerned.
I don't even think I made it to Source.
Source was good, man.
I'm dating myself, but I think
yeah. What did you end at 1.5?
There's like 1.7 or something like that.
No, it ended at
Was there 7?
No,
I can't remember.
It was 1.6 then source.
Okay, yeah.
If you don't count
1.5.
fucking
1.5 was definitely
0.
like peak Othais Counter-Striking. I remember when Steam came out and I was like, this is garbage. What the hell? I was so mad. I didn't want DRM.
Yeah, why are you hiding Counter-Strike under this weird thing? I remember early Steam when it was like
it would take
like 20 minutes
DRM.
to boot.
That's all it was.
Yeah. It was awful. Anyway, so next up. Oh, and by the way, I didn't even say the coupon code, guys. This week 15 is the coupon code for VZ Grips.
Yeah.
THISWEEK15.
Victor Z. Victor Zulu. Grips. Not Counter-Strike. That's CS.
So there's a new gun law for sale.
Okay, for
Would
sale.
you like to buy?
Where?
Oregon.
Oh, okay.
I am selling Measure 114. One of the strictest gun control measures in the U.S. What is your offer?
No, I don't want that.
Sold. 51 to 49. Isn't democracy cool?
Jesus Christ.
Isn't democracy cool?
Oregon is just going tailspin.
So,
if you guys live in Oregon, I'm sorry.
Yep. 3 changes will occur under Measure 114. Oregonians will be required to get a permit to buy a gun.
Oof.
Common sense.
That makes sense. Do they have one of those for voting? You gotta get the voting permit?
Yeah, I think so. A background check will
have to do that for voting? Do they have the voting background check?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
Okay, good.
The background check will have to be completed before a sale or transfer of a gun occurs. And it bans the sale or transfer of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds.
Okay, did they ban high-capacity voting? Are you allowed to vote for more than 10 things?
No, I think you are. I think you need to do that. It's your civic duty to vote for more than 10 things.
Okay, well.
Come on, man. Be reasonable.
Dude, this is
it's your civic duty. You need to vote.
You think they're going to push for a Fed?
For a Fed?
Yeah, now that they cleared the midterms, you think they're going to go for a federal?
No, I think they're a little smarter than that.
I mean, I do. I think it depends on how much they fortified it.
Oh,
I think we'll know.
You think they're going to redraw the districts again?
If they didn't, if it's unfortified, right? If it's unfortified,
yeah,
then they're just going to be like, well, we don't really need to push that. We need to keep the votes. But if it's fortified,
but what do you mean fortified? What do you mean by
that? If they're playing funny counting games.
Oh,
because if they're playing funny counting games, then they're going to know that they're actually outnumbered, and they're going to go for it. So the more they panic reach for the federal ban, the more I'm going to go, they know something.
Something's up here.
That's all I'm saying is it's a good litmus test, right? Like if they're like, well, we're already the majority, we don't care,
Well, I don't know. I feel bad for you, Oregon people, and I'm glad I haven't done the state. I don't know, man. I'm sure somebody will file a lawsuit and try to get an injunction because some of the stuff is pretty assailable.
Was Oregon a private sale state beforehand or no?
I think so.
I know Washington isn't because they had that thing.
Well, Washington just fixed that last year.
Yeah.
Yep. Or was that 2 years ago?
It's been a little while, actually.
Yeah, it was 2019, I think.
Yeah, last year, 2019.
Shut up. Anyway, speaking of the selection, that, and I love this. Like, so New York immediately after Bruen is like,
what was Bruen again? You got to remind everybody they're dumb.
The Supreme Court case that said, "Hey, it's not a 2-step test. You're not the Second Amendment is actually real. You can't."
And by the way, we know you're going to create a bunch of secure areas.
Yeah. So
you can't declare all of Manhattan a secure area.
Yeah. The Supreme Court expressly said, "Don't just do that."
Right. And then they New York immediately did that.
Yeah, we're gonna show you guys by doing that. And so And I love how this was the headline for this.
Well, no, they just banned carrying within 30 miles of a power line, right?
Parts of New York gun law temporarily blocked on eve of election day.
Oh no!
They're doing it. It's going against our democracy. But yeah, federal district judge has temporarily blocked multiple sections of New York's new concealed carry law on the eve of election day. Judge Glenn T. Sudababy of Syracuse ruled that the state can still prevent people from carrying guns in Times Square, public playgrounds, libraries, nurseries, and preschools. But
wait, why libraries?
But mental hospitals, places of worship, public parks, zoos, theaters, conference centers, protests, and bars are no longer off limits.
Okay, wait. How did libraries become a secure environment? I'm really confused.
None of this makes a lick of sense.
Like it's just like the library.
It seems like
thing,
he like rolled a d20 for each one.
Well, the library thing, it gives you the flavor of I guess what they considered hallowed ground. You know what I mean? Instead of logical ground, because they're going, oh, you can't carry in a hospital. And you're going, I don't really understand why I can't do that unless I'm the patient and you're just worried about it falling out on the operating room. But then I would be anyway.
Right.
So the hospital one's already kind of weird, but
right.
Once you accept the hospital, which has been accepted by a lot of places for reasons, I've actually never understood the hospital limitation.
Yeah, me either.
Then you sort of go, okay, well, what's another hallowed ground? Okay, City Hall. Yeah, okay, they really don't want you there.
Hall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then library. Because they're just naming
library.
Whatever,
Do you know what it is? It was like, you definitely can't have guns in the library, right? And everyone's like looking at each other. They're like, yeah, I've definitely been to the library. Yeah, me too. I've definitely been there, and I think that there's no guns. And so nobody was able to argue.
I don't understand. Like, what is it about the library that means that you can't have a gun there that's like worse than anywhere? Well, hold on.
They didn't know because no one in the meeting had ever gone.
You can't have a gun in the library. People are reading in there, and guns are loud.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, don't you know? Everybody knows. Shh. Everybody knows.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
What can a gun do that would not get shushed?
I'm sorry, this is not the topic of this thing, but it's what I'm stuck on. Like, why?
It's really good. Well, he also blocked a section of the law that blocked permit holders from carrying guns in other restricted locations, and ruled that permit applicants should not be required to prove that they have good moral character. Provide names and contact information for their partners and roommates, or provide a list of their social media accounts from the last 3 years, which is like one of the more bonkers things about the carry permit scheme there.
So that's what this judge blocked.
Yes. Temporarily.
To be fair, all that goes back to Sullivan's, doesn't it?
Yes.
And Sullivan's was targeted against the Italians. And the Irish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they had it coming.
Sullivan's was completely in response to Italians and Irish immigrants.
Facially, actually.
Huh?
It was so clear that like within 4 years of its passage, like it was documented that the law was only ever enforced against Italians.
Oh no! I mean, on the paperwork, you could just see the rejection paperwork, and it's all spaghetti names.
Yes.
I mean, literally, the reject list for the Sullivan Law stuff sounds delicious. So the also Negroes, they wouldn't let them have them either.
Yeah, that was like an unintended bonus for them.
Right? They didn't have that many of them. But,
yeah, they were like, "Oh, wait, you're just like an Italian, I think."
So the oh, I forgot what to say though. I listened to a lot of old radio shows, and I was trying out a new one, and I think it's like Precinct 21 or something. I gotta go look it up again. But it's a police procedural. I'll have to get you a copy of this, Matt, because I got less than 5 minutes into it, and they're literally interviewing a 74-year-old man about whether or not he can have a gun anymore because of the Sullivan's Law, and that had to be renewed every year. And you're going, oh my god, like every year they had to go back in for reapproval on the Sullivan carry in like 1950 something or other.
That's so great.
And the guy's like, and they're going, well, his eyesight's going pretty bad, so I don't think we can let him have a gun anymore.
Imagine that, like, just imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a 184-page decision, Sudababy said the plaintiffs, 6 New Yorkers who hope to obtain carry permits, had made strong showings they will likely experience irreparable harm if the law is allowed to stand. So that's why.
Yeah, the irreparable harm is they don't have their gun.
Yeah.
I mean, wait a minute. I wonder what they named as the irreparable harm, because the irreparable harm would be like
it's a current deprivation of the right.
Yeah, the right is to have it.
Yep.
And to wave it around. And then I just ruined the stream for a second there. We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to wave around. I make David mad. He's our friend who's a cop. And whenever we're driving around together in the car, and not even the cop car, just like regular car.
Normal car.
Whenever I see another police car, I'll start rolling my window down. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was just like, "I'm gonna wave my gun at them so we know we're on the same team."
He's like, no.
He doesn't. Nowadays, he just like rolls his eyes at me. But the first time, he's like, "Don't do that."
No, you're not supposed to. Not supposed to. Oh man, that's good. Well, another thing that's good. Let's have a quick word from show sponsor MAF Corporation. Now, MAF Corp is my corp.
This place sucks. I hate it.
Yes, but I just want you guys to know we have got the best deals right now on AR parts. We found a lot of them in the trash.
Where's the copy? Where's the copy we wrote? I want to read that.
Wait, which one? Oh, this one.
Yeah,
oh, yes,
we wrote. Matt and I wrote copy. Well, he wrote it. I just yelled things at him.
So this is for the large amount of AR-10 lower or uppers that we found.
Oh, this is a good photo.
Yes, I love that photo too. And I love dogs barking.
These are dumpster fresh, right?
So, no, there's really nothing wrong with them.
No, I said they're dumpster fresh, though.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to have to cut that out. That was so fucking annoying. What? All right, so let's go back to when you were saying, let's find that ad copy you wrote. So I'm going to click on it. All right, here we go. Yes, for these AR-10 strip uppers that we found.
Mm-hmm.
So
now the AR-10 is less than the AR-15, right?
Yes, it is substantially less. Okay. So you see here when we found them?
Yeah, in the dumpster. Did you wipe the juice off before you did that?
No.
Okay.
But so no, these were not actually a dumpster find, but we have them marked all as blems because they were found in a big old Gaylord, and so they kind of knocked around against each other.
Okay, let's be honest. They weren't blemmed until you rubbed them all on your face for that stupid photo, and now you have blemmed uppers.
That's fine. But anyway, so this is the ad copy that Othais and I wrote together. Do you want to read it?
I mean, you mostly wrote it.
Okay. Well, go ahead, you read it.
Here it is, our popular modular, excuse me. Here it is, our popular modular upper for the big boys. That's right, this one can be did in all the popular calibers AR-10s are famous for, including but not limited to 308 Winchester, 30-08 Sprongfield, 6.5 Reddit Screedmore, 7.7 British Rimless /303 Japanese, 762 Blue Helmet, and many more. These have modular inputs for forward assists, which are incredibly essential, or a block-off plate to make it all smooth. You may also choose between installing a brass deflector, boing, or leaving it nice and smooth. You said smooth twice, gay. You may also choose to not install them at all. They are not required, so who cares?
Yes, they are not required. So yeah, anyway, a stripped AR-10 upper, only $59.21. We have stripped AR-15 uppers only that are under $30. So check out all the stuff. Tons of stuff going on. And for you people who are very much into DIY, we have the wind chime kits. Okay. So just be sure to check it out. And of course, for you listeners only, use promo code FRN, Foxtrot Romeo November, to get 5% off your whole ass order.
What a stingy discount. I hate them.
It's a pretty good discount.
What does MAF stand for again?
Le Manufacture d'Armes Carillon de Floride.
That sounds French.
Yeah, you probably haven't heard of us.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, so this is a nice little story. It's next.
Right.
Iowa, you know that state, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They got their own little Second Amendment.
That's cute.
Yeah, isn't it? Look. It says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The sovereign state of Iowa affirms and recognizes this right to be a fundamental individual right. Any and all restrictions of this right shall be subject to strict scrutiny.
Is that an amendment in their state constitution?
Yes, and it was passed by a ballot amendment.
Nice. Good job, buddies.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. The big thing here is the strict scrutiny requirement. That basically means that any lawsuits brought against state laws, the government has to prove that they are the least restrictive possible thing to do to achieve a compelling government interest. So the general consensus is that strict scrutiny means the government loses.
Yeah, as they should.
Which is awesome. So I just can't wait to see how they manage to twist this up when they want to find in their own favor. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Another cool one, I'm sure you remember a while back, Hawaii had their carry permit thrown down by Bruen.
Okay.
Because the court struck down a decision by the Ninth Circuit after Bruen that supported Hawaii's law, which was very similar to the New York law under effect in Bruen. Now, under Hawaii law, each county's police department must write its own rules and issue concealed gun permits in its own way.
Oh, that's fun.
So Maui, Kauai, and Hawaii counties
have Kauai.
Kauai, Kauai. Is that not Kauai?
Let's go. Okay, Kauai, sure.
No, I didn't say Kauai.
I think you're Kauai too, Sensei.
Anyway, they've already adopted new rules to comply with the court's decision and begun issuing concealed carry permits to those who meet the requirements. Only the city and county of Honolulu has just decided, we're still working on it. They're just
that's not good.
They're just dragging their feet.
They did it bad.
They did it very bad. So yeah, these are members of the public.
I don't want to let people do the thing they're allowed to do.
Well, it's okay because they were allowed to voice their concerns. Members of the public were given 2 minutes to provide testimony on concealed carry permit rules during.
Oh God, that's one of those things that I want to hear the insanity, but I don't want to hear the insanity.
Yeah, I only know of one Hawaii gun owner, and he's really cool. I'm sure that there are not many of them.
No,
because in Honolulu they are sitting on some 575 applicants.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not a lot.
that's what's the population there? It's 1,000, right?
Hold on.
Were you Googling?
Yes.
He's making a good face.
Yes.
700,000.
So for the city.
Okay, just for the city.
City and county.
Oh.
350,000.
Oh, okay, good. I was too high.
Yeah.
I don't know how dense it is there. I have no concept.
Yeah, but like still.
So they're sitting on 350 out of 350,000?
Yes.
That's not so bad. 1 in 1,000, that's still something. I mean, it's that are willing to start the process.
I mean, it's not hope. Zero.
This is like people trying to do it when there's like almost no hope.
I mean, this is probably
you got to understand
the most hope they've ever had.
Well, this has got to be the equivalent of. Do you remember SBR, SBS, all that stuff back in the 90s when there's no internet, not no internet, but the paperwork hadn't really been charted in a way that most people understood, right?
Right.
Only a handful of guys really got it, and so NFA paperwork is very rare, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they are there
with carry permits.
No, because there's nobody. Yeah, there's. By the way, it's worse than that because the process was there for the NFA. You just had to know how to do it, right?
Right.
The process isn't even there for these guys.
Yeah,
and yet
these
there's
guys
already
just like did some conjuring.
There's already a 1 in 1,000 line forming. That's not too shabby, actually.
It's been a while.
Because I don't think
anyway,
1 in 1,000 people were doing NFA stuff in the 90s.
Probably. That's one way to think about it, but it's kind of like a terrible, horrible way to be.
Well, they should shoot them.
Yeah. Look at this guy, Mayor Rick Blangiardi.
Oh, that's a beautiful traditional Hawaiian name.
Yeah, it's definitely not. He was one of the escaped Sullivanites.
Yeah.
He's asked the Honolulu City Council to consider a sensitive places ordinance.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Got to protect the library. You remember that time that library got hijacked? God. Can't ever let that. Never forget the Great Library Heist.
Yeah.
74.
Yeah, 1271. Anyway, so that is a fascinating thing. Next,
isn't a library one of the best places to be if there was like a crazy mass shooting, because the books can absorb a fair amount of bullet?
Actually, we should do a test on that.
I feel like if I was in any government building, period, that would be the most.
Yeah, because usually the walls are like just drywall,
just into the stacks. You know what I mean? Like just a million ways to get in and out. I think not million, but at least 3.
Yeah, like a 500,000.
I feel like I want to be in the library in a gunfight compared to other places. I don't want to be in the DMV in a gunfight. Yeah. I don't want to be down at City Hall with any of that stuff, you know? But library, I got a fairly good chance.
It was just too hard for me to just start that sentence with Atlanta Zoo.
I had to look this one up whenever it first broke, because I went, wait, what?
The Atlanta Zoo.
This is actually brilliant. I like this one.
Backtrack. Yes, it is.
Okay. So.
They have backtracked on its gun ban after 2 months and are now allowing visitors to carry firearms.
Yeah, because they're on public land.
Yes, which is a fascinating, and they're public land, and they're probably
who's the dude that was suing on this? Like, who did this?
I don't know.
Do we
exactly.
know?
I don't know. I'm sure you can figure it out if you.
I want to know who it is, because I'm gonna hug that guy.
Yeah, give him a kiss.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. So
Georgia it's been like, hey, did you know the zoo's built on public land?
Yeah.
And
there's a state law from 2014 basically that prevents gun bans from public property, and then homie, who?
All right. So phase 2.
Yeah.
We prove legally that chimps are people.
Could you let me explain what happened?
Because if we can do that.
So there was this law from 2014 that said no gun bans on public property. Then homie figures out that there's these zoos in Atlanta that are both on public property and banning guns. So he threatens them. And
I can't carry the Coca-Cola Museum, but I can go to the zoo. The Coca-Cola Museum is nuts. I mean, it's been a couple of years now, but I went there long ago, a couple times, right? And then I came back, I think it was like the NRA show years ago, and they had, Matt, I think the zoo probably was the same way, because the Coca-Cola Museum and the aquarium, it was airport security.
Really?
Oh yeah, you had to go through the weird.
Why?
Actually, probably more so than the airport, because I think you had to go through the weird cage thing, the rotary cage doodle. I don't know what the zoo was like, because I didn't even bother at that point.
The one that gives you a CAT scan.
Dude, I think you were catching cancer trying to get through the screening. But they were going. They must have had some crazy shit pop off or something. There must have been some sort of gang, whatever, at the Coca-Cola Museum or something. I guess I could you know what the weird thing is? I kind of understand it at the aquarium. I don't know how bulletproof aquarium glass is, but if you
not thoroughly.
If you manage to because if you've been to Atlanta Aquarium, that thing's huge, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if you ruptured the main tank on the ground floor, everybody would die.
Maybe it's we understand self-defense and all that, but
it's I feel it's not that I want them to ban concealed carry in the Atlanta aquarium, but I would be comfortable with a caliber restriction.
It's like wax only.
Yeah, no armor piercing. Like,
or no, they're stuck with our captive bolt pistols. They have like exchange program. They hand in their gun and they get one of our captive bolt carbines.
I don't know. Anyway, sorry, back to the zoo. Yeah, what a G, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, they're using public land. Well, I get to come in here with my gun then.
Let me have my gun.
Got him.
Well, so listen, this is a quote from Zoo Atlanta officials.
Okay.
Zoo Atlanta continues to believe that its decision to prohibit carrying of guns onto Zoo Atlanta grounds is legally supportable and in the best interest of safety.
Then bring it.
At this time, however, Zoo Atlanta is choosing not to undergo the major distraction and expensive litigation.
The distraction of being wrong.
But instead will give public officials an opportunity to consider and address this issue.
Mm-hmm. Like, as in, we can't do crap unless they fix it for us.
Yeah, the politicians help. Yep.
So anyway, we need to prove that chimps are people.
Yes.
Because then the chimps will have the right to carry firearms.
Yeah, no, we just got to start going in, being like, they need access to a gun store, and I'm a traveling gun salesman. It's like,
if this monkey gives me a banana, I'm giving him the handgun. All right.
Yes. Step 1, prove chimp citizenship. Step 2, establish chimp economy. Step 3, initiate chimp economy gun trade. Step 4, zoos are fucked. Oh man, that's good. So yeah, good on you, homie. That's up. One last word from our sponsor, Patriot Patch Company. You guys are going to experience a rare unboxing because I just got in my new patch from the Patch of the Month Club.
It's in an envelope. That's not a box.
Shut up. Oh, look, I got another 2 more.
You got 2 more? You got double again?
I got a double again.
What did you get?
I got the
terrible.
American Express looking one. It says American Defense.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's got a Super Dude on it. It's got a G36 on it.
Yeah,
and then I got
they won't import
the Thanksgiving the Thanksgiving piece.
I like their theme. Okay, so here's what I've decided. Half of their pouches are a seasonal thing with nods. Like they really love nods.
Yeah, well, and this turkey has GPNVGs.
Only this one's got a grenade, right?
Yeah, GPNVGs and a grenade.
It's a okay, so he's gonna attack you at night with a grenade, like a suicide bomber turkey night raider.
No, here's the best part. They're GPNVGs, like decidedly modern, and that's a Mark II pineapple grenade.
Well, yeah, he spent all his money on those. Turkeys don't even have money.
They can only get money by participating with extreme difficulty in the chimp economy.
I watched a video this week and I found out that chickens and guinea pigs get along really well. Yeah, I didn't expect it, but yeah, they do fine.
And there's the little sticker. I got a sticker of him.
Oh, do you get a backup sticker?
No, you get a sticker of the patch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's neat. It's much more
like that.
And I mean high res.
Did you only get one sticker for the 2 patches, or did you get 2 stickers?
I got 2 patches and 2 stickers.
Oh, dope. Oh, that you could probably actually cause some mayhem with.
Yeah.
Hand it like it's a Diners Club card.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah, no, on this, yeah. That's good. Well, so anyway, guys, that's patriotpatch.co. They have been a long-time supporter of the show. Show them your love. If you like patches, they're made of that good stuff, the soft and chewy one. Good for combing your beard. Join the Patch of the Month Club. You get a new thing, funny, cool patch every month. It's easy to do. It's not expensive.
By the way, they are flavored.
They are flavored.
Yeah,
and if you use our special promotional code TWIG10, you will get a discount. And then they will also know that I've been doing my job and telling you to do it.
Yeah, literally every single one of them rubber flavor. I've tested.
Yeah, PVC, soft PVC flavor.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a connoisseur like you. It's just rubber flavor to me.
Well, I mean, rubber is a more natural
Oh my god.
This is it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being with this show for 400 episodes. Wow.
Oh wait, that's it? We're done?
Yeah.
What? I had a news article.
Wait, where?
It's a good news article. It says Matthew LaRosiere was on Nick Rakita's stream again. And mentioned several stories that I was involved in and never once referenced his homeboy was there at all, so I'm offended.
Wait, what?
Oh yeah, talking about hanging out on the bus with Brandon Herrera. Didn't mention anything about your other homies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I don't care.
It's like we were talking about. Oh, man, that was so hard for me because he and I like Brandon, but it's like when people who don't really know guns are like, "Oh yeah, oh what about that AK-50?"
Okay,
and it's like,
so hold on. Nobody has any context. So Rakita was slamming you. Do you want to tell the story a little bit?
You tell it. I was really drunk.
Matt and I are waging a 2-man war on the oh god, what is his name? My brain froze. Single Action Army Trick Shot of the Year champion. The actor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why did my brain lock down on the actor?
Yeah, dude, I know. I'm locked out of it too. The guy that everyone was calling a murder. The one, from the movie.
No, I don't.
Shit.
We're running the stream right now because neither of us can remember his name, even though we've been
I can't
involved in
remember
this
his name
stupid
at
fight.
all. Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Everybody's screaming it at home right now.
Yeah.
Matt and I have been on this thing about Alec Baldwin because 2 things have happened in the course of this case that are driving us nuts.
Yeah.
One is right out of the gate, everybody said that a single action army can't misfire,
Right?
Which is unfathomably untrue.
Right.
As a matter of fact, they're extremely easy to damage in such a way that they can misfire.
Right. Certain models.
It depends. It depends on who made it.
When.
It depends on the metallurgy involved and how much it was abused. But it is possible, actually, because of the half cock notch is a thing that we don't use as a safety anymore, specifically because half cock notches can chip off and fail.
Right.
And then when you start making reproductions out of shitty metal, they really can fail. But even the originals did. Like, that's the thing is people forget. It's really common to find the early Colts with poor half cock notches because they would chip off or fail or wear or distort or whatever.
And so the context for all that is that I had called out Rakita for bringing up all of these. Like, everyone wanted to bring out these smoking guns in the Alec Baldwin thing, right? Where it's like he said that it just fired, but that's impossible because that gun doesn't work like that. And so Rakita's like, no, Brandon Herrera showed. I was like, Brandon Herrera was fucking wrong.
It's fine to show that you can technically slam fire that in the sense that there's no disconnector. You hold the trigger down, you cock the hammer back, let it go, it goes bang.
Yeah.
That part is absolutely 99% chance of what happened, especially after we saw what footage we have seen. It's almost entire. Matt and I are not arguing that he didn't pull the trigger. It's just there was a brief moment in time in which we did not have that footage. We only had his testimony. We didn't have anybody else's testimony. And everybody immediately said that physically cannot happen. And both of us went, hold on.
Yeah.
That can physically happen. It's just really unlikely. And then we got, by the way, we're not even saying that it did happen. We're just saying it can physically happen.
Right.
And the response was, F. I mean, people were mad at us for saying it could physically happen.
Yeah, no, we were literally just going wait, hold on. You're using a false premise to prove impossibility. I think we both said this isn't likely what happened, but it is mechanically possible. And people were like, yeah, F you, die.
And then that issue came up, and Matt's Rakita's going, well, Herrera said that can't happen, and Matt's going, okay, well, I'm glad he has a popular, whatever YouTube channel and handled a couple of repros roughly, but not the same as being an expert in this field at all.
Right.
And then the other thing that he dogged you about was where the liability is and all that, because everybody's thirsty for.
Everyone wants to say he's criminally liable.
Right, and then you were explaining the fight. Oh, that was the other story because you mentioned getting into it with Runkle the Bailey,
Yeah,
which
because then,
also I started.
well, yeah, you did start that. So yeah,
But
the
I don't
other
care. You
thing
don't. By the way, I'm not actually offended you didn't mention me on these stories, but
I
I
know
find it. I was
you
just
wanted to
like,
segue
man,
into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the
Well, no,
the
the
other
Runkle thing.
issue.
Hold on, let's cover that. So
Okay,
you did start that. You were like,
yeah, I did
"Hey,
start it. So
Runkle,
Runkle
Runkle's being wrong about gun law.
hold
Come
on, hold
help."
on. Runkle of the Runkle the Bailey is a very nice Canadian fellow who I was following just to stay in tune with Canadian law because I have
Right.
friends up there. And I went into his stream and commented on something because he was on a panel and they were talking about dummy rounds and snap caps and stuff with actors, and their argument was that all actors have to be responsible legally for the firearm handling, which Matt and I don't agree with. If you have an
No.
armorer on site who's who's a acclaimed expert, if this guy's
Right.
legally defined as an expert and he has told you that the firearm is safe to handle, then it's actually his liability in the legal system. And I know
Right.
people are going to start yelling blah blah blah, and I get it. I appreciate that you guys believe strongly in gun safety. I appreciate that that's how you would never do it at your own range.
Right.
That's fine,
You're
but
not an
that is
actor.
not a courthouse, and
Yeah.
B, you're not dealing with people who are paid crazy amounts of money to be there and don't actually give a royal s about guns at all. They don't care, and you can't make them care. You guys
Right.
care. You're listening to this, you
You
care.
care a lot.
You literally cannot make these people care. And so when you say we're going to make them care and pay attention, you're opening a whole big can of worms because then they're not the ones that constructed the fake cartridge. And
Right.
depending on what scene you're filming, you might have a cartridge that looks very real from the back or from the front. And a lot of times, I'm going to tell you, it depends on the production as to whether or not they're going to pay attention to whether they make a dummy cartridge that looks real from both directions. But
Mhm.
all that I know is Runkle's shaking this cartridge that has like a bean in it, I guess, like
Yeah.
it rattles or something. He's going, no, because I said it would be very silly to have the actors all trained to recognize dummy cartridge. Training them not to point a gun at people, training them whatever,
Yeah.
that's a different story. But training actors to know the difference between a real and fake cartridge is really exceptionally difficult.
And absurd as a concept because again, there is going to be so many different patterns of fake cartridge.
Right. And so, depending on what
And
you're
so
filming, you're going to
right.
have very realistic fake cartridges. So, Runkle then is shaking this bean cartridge and saying that I'm an idiot because
Well,
how could you not
he's
know?
asserting that this is what all
He's
fake cartridges
right.
are.
He's not, he's tacitly, though. He's not
Yeah.
saying all fake cartridges have this bean, but he's arguing with me saying, no, how could you screw this up? It has a bean in it, right? And he's shaking
Yeah.
this
No,
rattling
and then he's like,
cartridge.
and I took a bunch of people who had never shot before, and they all properly confirmed, and not one of the people accidentally fired the gun that day. And I'm like, dude, that's
Not,
not
not, by
all
the
of
way, the
them.
bean does not
Yeah.
make it so that there's no
Yeah.
powder in there. The bean does not make it so that the primer is in a real primer.
Yeah.
So you're really trusting whoever made that cartridge then, and then the liability would be on that person with the cartridge, right?
Yeah.
Which
Back to square
ultimately
one.
means that you then believe that if somebody swears that this is not a dangerous object, as in a fake cartridge, then it's not on the person who fired the fake cartridge, right? Would you blame Alec Baldwin if he shook it and it had a bean and gunpowder in there, right? Okay, so then let's take one step back from that. Somebody handed Alec Baldwin a gun and said, "This gun is completely safe to shoot." Who did it? You know what I mean? What was the
Right.
chain of what's the lockout? And I understand some people are saying, well, the producer handed it to him. Okay. Did he see it coming off the table and it had a thing on it that says like I want to know the lockout procedure. No one has presented this to me at least in enough detail to make these concessions, right? He could still technically be liable if he did not have a guarantee that it was a safe firearm, but that's not what I have not heard a prosecution of any sort that he knew that it
Right.
was a potentially live firearm at all,
Well, and the
or
response to that has been that, well, he was not supposed to shoot in that scene. And it's
I don't
like,
care. I don't care
yeah,
what he was
me either.
supposed to do at all because
Yeah.
all he did was right. By the way, he was told to cock the hammer,
Right.
and because he's not an actual expert with firearms, he rode the trigger. But
Right.
most likely, he rode the trigger while cocking the hammer, not realizing that there's no disconnect, and then it let the hammer fall. That is the most likely thing that happened. Now, he was so dumb that he claims that he just didn't realize he shot anybody and walked away. Right? Like in his statements, he's just like, "Oh, I just thought it made a sound and I just wandered off. I didn't know I shot anybody." And nobody's, to my knowledge, that hasn't been disputed. I don't know. I haven't gone through every needle and hay on this one. But the point is, all I'm saying is, sorry, we're getting way down into this. Training actors to recognize real versus fake cartridges is probably the least safe way to ensure safety.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. And not all fake cartridges are going to have a bean. And even if you have like a shaky little thing in there, a lot of cartridges, especially smokeless loads for black powder, there's going to be a lot of shaking sound in there. I don't know. Has he never shot a smokeless 45 long Colt where it just literally sounds like something?
Sounds like a maraca.
Because then you have to train the actor the difference between a bean and powder sloshing around in there. Right. That would be that's also just a terrible flag system anyway. So this is the argument that I'm trying to have with him in little chats in his thing while he just narrates that I'm an idiot. So I told Matt, and of course Matt rolls in and starts talking mad shit because he can't help but inflame. So then he's on Rakita's stream, and then Rakita's going, "Oh yeah, we know Runkle. He's like an expert at this," and Matt's going, "No." So Matt has to explain that he got into a fight with Runkle. And then he's like, "Okay, well, fine. We'll just don't worry. We have Brandon Herrera who could clarify this for you." And Matt's going, "Okay, both of us have met him. Like, we have contact with him. He's a nice guy. Like, I've had a lovely time.
I like him a lot.
Right.
I would not ask him any questions about any firearm.
Well, no, it's not even that. You wouldn't ask him a legal question.
For sure.
He's not a lawyer. And then the other thing is, you wouldn't ask him mechanical questions about antique firearms.
Certainly not.
And reproductions thereof.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have two guys right here who would be really good at those specific fields, like an attorney and an arms historian, who are told repeatedly, "You should listen to Brandon Herrera."
Yeah. And we're just like, okay.
And they're also the immediate assumption that we're making the case that Alec Baldwin has no liability. And that's not it. We're just saying, hold on.
There's nuance here. Let's talk about this.
And all we're trying to explain to people is, hold on. A, that's not the safest way to do this. And B, he has legal recourse. We're not even saying he's going to win, that he's innocent. We're just trying to explain the reality of the case that is in consideration and why it is actually a difficult consideration. It actually is a very unique case about where liability falls, and it's very dependent on chain of custody and many other things that we don't have full access to, and we have seen frankly contradictory claims of, and no one has come in and proved it with hard paper receipts which way or the other. You know what I mean? And so we're very curious about the key missing pieces, and when we say that, people are like, "I already know what's happening," and you're going,
yeah. Brandon Herrera showed me the bean.
no, it was Runkle with the bean.
I intentionally did that. Brandon Herrera showed me the bean, and that proved the case.
So, yeah, but I consider, like, because I'm too aware of this because of what I do. I would be the kind of person who could be dragged into court and sworn in as an expert. Right? It's very clear that I have that experience. Which means that
I'm the kind of person that gets called in to say, "Please prove I didn't murder that guy."
I know. So it's personal to me because I could screw up enough where I'm just like, "Here, shoot this," and by handing it to somebody and telling them to shoot it, if it explodes, I could be in trouble because they would say, "Well, you should have known that was unsafe, and here's how we can prove that you had the knowledge to know it's unsafe." And this is sort of the inversion of that, where it's just like, I clearly see that man is an idiot and didn't know how that gun worked at all. And therefore, if there was no expectation of him knowing how to work, it might be the liability of the person who handed him the gun. Because there's just no expectation of him knowing that that's a live firearm in that environment. Like under jury, under like the law, I just don't see how there's an expectation of him knowing how to handle, or even that it is a live fire. Now, if you could prove somewhere that he wrote in a text or said out loud and it was recorded,
I just love this blasty live gun.
Yeah, it's like if he was like waving around going, "It's crazy that this is a real gun and some of these are real cartridges," then it's on him. And by the way, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
The problem is we're trying to describe a gray space, and people hate that. They want black and white, and we're just trying to say,
that's why Runkle and Brandon Herrera did what they did, because they know what the audience is, and the audience wants a simple They want to go, here's the thing that proves it. Here it is, right
Thank
here.
you, Hercule Poirot.
What?
The little grey cells. You never watched any Poirot? Oh, you'd love Poirot.
Probably. But this is it. This is the smoking gun evidence item.
Yeah. See, yeah, I've got you locked out because there's no way this thing that always happens could happen.
It's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out there was no mechanical malfunction of the gun because they went and checked the gun and they hammered on the gun and they ultimately, by the way, the investigators ultimately broke the gun. That's my favorite part. Like they finally did force
to induce
they induced the error that by the way, they're expert. If you read the case on on analyzing the firearm, that guy knew how single action army worked. It read great.
No, I remember when that came out.
Yeah, he induced the failure, and I went, okay, good. There's no mechanical failure of the gun.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was, but I just wanted to make sure people knew that there could be.
Yeah.
And so, as far as I could tell, that expert knew what he was doing, and there was nothing wrong with that gun. Great. So then that takes what was a maybe and puts it into a definitely. Great. But the problem is we're still, on the liability front, I still haven't seen the proof that Baldwin was cognizant of the risks of what he was handling.
Right.
And by the way, I still think he'd be responsible if there was no one there in an armor position.
Yeah.
But the fact that an armor existed at all means that we must ask a lot of questions around who said what and what was procedure and what was he aware of and what.
Which is why, and I think that the point of agreement that we have is that whether or not Alec Baldwin, the individual, is criminally liable is a extremely gray, fascinating case study that has to be looked at with a microscope.
Not only that, but it comes back around on a second layer because then he's the producer and the organizer of the thing.
Right, but then
he hired the armor.
The thing
so
we agree
now
on,
he's like a sandwich of liability.
Well, the thing we agree on is that Alec Baldwin, movie producer, is liable.
Oh yeah,
right.
But what is it? Is it a direct liability or sort of weird negligence or what? Right, like.
Right. Well, did
you criminal liability or just a financial liability?
Did you see how that got settled though?
Yeah, why did they settle it?
They settled it for like producer credits in the movie.
No, it's something is really bizarre there because
weird.
why did they settle it before the criminal charges? Unless they knew something wasn't going. I don't. The whole thing's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean it's weird.
It's really weird. The whole thing is really weird.
Yep.
So you heard first. Matt said that Alec Baldwin pulled off the perfect assassination.
But I do think now that after we learned all that, my theory is now that one, he did not know it was actually loaded, and two, he was lazily riding the trigger while thumbing the hammer.
I believe lazily riding. I very much believe lazily riding.
And you can totally but like somebody who doesn't know guns, I think can very innocently do that.
If he thought that was live ammo, he is extremely liable.
Yeah, no, that is gross. So that is like wantonness.
If he was told, careful, this is live ammunition, he's toast. You know what I mean? That would be. But the question is, and then by the way, there's an in-between state. If the armorer says, I swear, if the armorer handed it directly and said, I swear this is not a real gun or not real ammo, he's off the hook.
Right.
If he thought that it was real ammo, he's definitely dead in the water. But there's a big gray area of, well, the armorer just left it on the table and then nobody touched it and then the producer handed it to him.
Right.
Oh boy. Like,
well, then it becomes a question of, what was the ordinary gun? How were guns normally handed around?
Because then this also goes back to, I don't know the name of the guy that shot what's his face from The Crow.
Right.
But he was given blank cartridges, but it was an obstructed barrel.
Right.
So was he, as an actor, supposed to check for bore obstructions while handling blanks? You know what I mean? Like, how far are we going?
And especially a dumb, like, how is a dumb actor going to know how to check for a bore obstruction in a revolver?
Right.
Like, they're not.
This is
Yeah.
I have many. Anyway, the point is, I would like to hear a lot more detail about that day. Like a lot, especially about where the gun came from, where the ammo came from. Like,
well, we'll learn all about it after he's exonerated and he releases the book if I knew, this is how I would have known.
I mean, if they don't prosecute him, we might never know.
Yeah.
And then everybody will tell us that we were wrong the whole time because we'll never be exonerated. You and I
will never be exonerated either.
Right.
It's like, we don't even like him. We're just trying to be objective.
What we need to figure out, Matt, is how somebody managed to get a bean in a live cartridge.
It's like, no, like, yeah, I need to investigate. We need to go to Canada and investigate the dummy bean fairy that just apparently ubiquitously throughout the entire country there's beans.
Can I point out I've never handled a dummy that had a bean in it?
Not even once. Most of the times I handle dummies.
I would assume it was, if I heard something in a cartridge, I would assume it was a live cartridge.
Yes.
Am I crazy?
No. And most of the times I've handled dummies, the way I would tell is the primer was dead.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
But there's tons, like we talked about, there's tons of different ways to do it.
Right.
I've seen them with cream of wheat instead of gunpowder to like get the weight right.
Yeah, but with the primer, you could still have some movement there.
So what they do, they just take the anvil out.
Yeah, but then you can't film it from the rear. This is the problem.
Just the anvil from the primer. So you still have the cup.
Yeah, I guess that would work. It still makes you kind of nervous, doesn't it? Just imagining that. Like any priming compound in there at all.
Yeah. That shit's explosive.
Yeah. I would just take I would cut out like aluminum foil in a little tiny circle and just glue it there.
Or like get like the thickest pencil lead and just cut it in little slices.
No, the real thing, honestly, if you wanted to do it right, you would just like fit a piece of rubber for it or even hot glue, and then just come back and hit with some silver paint.
Yeah. Just
some modeling paint real quick, and then it would look great. Yeah. But you know what the problem is? We're gun guys that are really trying to avoid a mistake.
Right. And whereas they're like
like
just a primer. Yeah. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. And as always, we will see you next time.
Dog's barking.
Alex, quiet.
Bar, rar, rar.